Have you ever thought about where your produce comes from? Most grocery chains receive produce from various local and national farmers. In fact, there are about 3.4 million farmers in the United States today. But of that staggering number, only 45,000 are Black farmers. At the Better Buggy, we are a proud group of Atlanta-based Black-owned farmers, selling produce locally and nationwide. Our easy-to-navigate online platform makes it easy for you to make a one-time purchase or to simplify your life by subscribing to our weekly produce box. Whichever frequency you choose, you can order with confidence, knowing you'll receive 100% organic farm-fresh produce. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a loved one that they'd actually find useful, be sure to pop by our online store where you can snag a gift card your recipient can use to order their own produce and t-shirts. Ready to start supporting local Black-owned farms and making healthier food decisions? Visit thebetterbuggy.com now to start shopping.
Ladies and gentlemen, many of you already know who this is. This is Lori Lightfoot, Chicago's mayor. Well, this came out in the New York Post, May 19th, 2021. Chicago's mayor refuses to give interviews to white reporters. Chicago mayor declared that she would only grant one-on-one interviews with minority journalists to protest the lack of diversity in the Windy City press corps. Mayor Lori Lightfoot was the first Black woman and openly gay person elected to run the city. And this was confirmed the move on Tuesday after members of the local press took to Twitter saying that they had been denied interviews based on skin color. Oh, yeah, as if y'all never did anything like that. Okay, whatever. By now, you may have heard the news that on the occasion of the 2-year anniversary of my inauguration as mayor of this great city, I will be exclusively providing one-on-one interviews with journalists of color, Lightfoot said in a letter to local media provided the Post. As a person of color, I have, throughout my adult life, done everything that I can to fight for diversity and inclusion in every institution that I have been part of. And being mayor makes me uniquely situated to shine the spotlight on this most important issue. Lightfoot's spokesperson later clarified that the protest only pertains to interviews about her anniversary in office. Lightfoot said her 2019 election was praised for breaking barriers. I ran to break up the status quo that has failed so many residents across our city, Lightfoot said, and that the failing status quo did not apply simply to City Hall and city government, she added. It pertains and exists in all public and private institutions. Lightfoot challenged local media to hire more people of color and women of color to their staff. I have been struck since my first day on the campaign trail back in 2018 by the overwhelming whiteness and maleness of Chicago media outlets, editorial boards, and political press corps. And yes, the City Hall press specifically, she said. Lightfoot said during a historic reckoning around systemic racism, many businesses and educational institutions have launched efforts to address the deep seated legacies of institutionalized racism. In looking at the absence of diversity across the City Hall press corps and other newsrooms, sadly, it does not appear that many of the media institutions in Chicago have caught on and truly have not embraced the moment, she said. The mayor brashed local outlets for only having a handful of people of color who cover her administration. The group of reporters covering City Hall is practically all white. And there's not one woman of color among them, she said. Now, I was shocked to even read that. She said she has never, the whole time she's been in office, she has never been interviewed by a Black woman journalist. And I'm wondering how many other mayors are encountering, even governors, that just not saying anything because the people pretty much look just like them, so they don't feel like there's any need to say anything. Many of them are smart and hardworking, savvy and skilled, she said, but mostly white nonetheless. The mayor claimed to have discussions with community leaders over a call implicit or explicit bias in news coverage, but the issue to the attention of media leaders. And the truth is, it is too heavy a burden to bear on top of all of the other massive challenges our city faces in this moment, to also have to take on the labor of educating white and mostly male members of the news media about the perils and complexities of implicit bias, she said in a letter. This isn't my job. It shouldn't be. I don't have time for it. The practice has railed local journalists and led to one Latino reporter with the Chicago Tribune canceling a scheduled interview. Gregory Pratt, who covers the mayor and City Hall, said on Twitter that he was granted an interview for Wednesday. However, I asked the mayor's office to lift its condition on others, and when they said no, we respectfully canceled, Pratt said. Politicians don't get to choose who cover them. A conversation among reporters denied interviews with Lightfoot began on social media on Tuesday with a tweet from Mary Ann Ahem, Ahern, Ahern, political reporter from NBC5 Chicago. As at Chicago mayor reaches her 2-year midway point as mayor, her spokeswoman said Lightfoot is granting one on one interviews only to Black or Brown journalists. Other journalists replied that they had experienced the same. The city council member called the alderman in Chicago questioned by Ahern's original tweet. How is that even true? Be serious, Alderman George Caradenas, a Republican. Heather Sharon, a reporter for WTTW Chicago PBS, replied, I can confirm, Alderman. So Lori Lightfoot is pretty much complaining that since she's been in office, the main ones covering her are all white reporters. And she has an issue with that. So she's calling it out. Why are there always so many white reporters? But you know what? We see this even with the White House. If you think about it, you can count the reporters during the daily press conference, the Black ones, on one hand, on one finger. Really, you can count that on one finger. And the rest of them are pretty much Caucasian. I mean, damn near all of them. You see this a lot. So I guess when they feel it is an important issue, they just inundate people that, look like high IQ folks. They think they're the ones that should be, covering the important things, and anybody else, they need to go take a back seat to them. But I tell you what, I may not always agree with this woman, but she is by far the first politician I've ever heard call this out. And we know this happens all the time. You know, Even when you look at the morning shows across America, you can count the Black people on a few fingers, but the coverage, for the most part, even of the White House, is white people. That's how it is. But please tell me what you think. And, unfortunately, journalism is another thing that's not good in this country. They don't really do any journalism. They just all go off of the same computer and same information and report the exact same stories, all throughout the country. Same words and everything. We've seen that already. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.